The big play is the Manny Margot play.
Yeah, that was it.
I have Kevin Cash's post game up. Did you guys heard what he said about this at all? You have, Trev?
Yeah.
So I have not. Have you, Jake? Okay. Can we play a little bit of it?
Play it, baby.
We're just going to have to, take the off day and bounce back. Hand set, whatever he does, and I think Manny just...
A called play, or was that he on his own, and what did you think of it if it was his own?
As a read, I know Kershaw has the real high hand set, whatever he does, and I think Manny just felt like he had a beat on it that he could time him up. Frustrating inning. First man on third, no outs. Then first and third, no outs. Pop up, strike out, and then get thrown out trying to do that. Ideally, we got to find a way to get that guy in to tie the game right there.
Thank you.
So it wasn't a play. Everyone on Twitter was telling me it was a play. There's no way Manny goes on his own. We went on his own. That's kind of crazy.
Had to.
I mean, Coach Ballgame said he's the oohs and ahs guy, and I don't. We talked about it last night on the stream. I don't hate it. I think that he knows the offense is struggling. He just saw guys strike out, pop up to the infield, and he's like, hey. And maybe he thought about it, and they've talked about it with Kershaw and the way he comes set that they could do something like that. Or maybe he just thought of it in the moment. I'm not really sure. I don't think he's talked about it yet, but I think it was more of the way you should look at it is Kershaw made a great play. I think Margot I think he had a great read on it, and I would venture out to say 7 out of 10 times he's probably safe. Kershaw to be able to do that is very hard.
I hear what you're saying, Trev, and I've said all those things about a lot of diving plays, a lot of close steal attempts before, where both sides had to make a good play, bad play. Usually, if you send a guy home and he's out by less than a couple inches, I'm always like, well, it's not a bad send then because it was so close. Don't rip the third base coach. But stealing home in that instance, for me, it's hero or zero. And there's no of this close, close is only for hand grenade stuff you could do about it because it completely changes the game and it's not necessary. I mean, Kiermaier's been pretty good with the stick. So I understand he was really close to it working. He timed it perfectly. Kershaw did make a really good play. But because the outcome is it's the last out at home, it's horrible.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of split the gap a little / maybe lean towards Trevor's side. And this goes back to kind of everything we've been talking about. I mean, I think the Dodgers are a better team, and I think Manny Margot, if the Rays are going to do this thing, I think you kind of need something like that. And I almost put more of the onus on Joey Wendell and Willy Adames. I mean, Joey Wendell pops out to short. He gave it an at-bat. Renfroe also walked, and that's one of those, I almost want to go back and watch that at-bat because if you're Hunter Renfroe and you could have hit a long fly ball and gotten out on a pitch, that would have been more valuable than your walk. I know baseball kind of doesn't work like that, but it also does. Willy Adames strikes out, and Margot's on third. You're seeing it's lefty on lefty. I know Kiermaier has been a very much of a threat this postseason, but a guy not known for his hitting. And Margot's been making it happen. And Jim, like you're saying, the zero hero thing, I also agree with that. But I also like the Rays going for that move because I think that is one of their best options there. And, our Dodger fans were hitting us up and they're like, oh, they let Kershaw off the hook. Yeah, a little bit. Kershaw also struck out Willy Adames. Kershaw also got Joey Wendell to pop out to short. So Kershaw ends up with a really nice start in this game. He's having a really nice postseason. I like it. I mean, I don't want to kill him. I'm surprised people thought it was a called play because, I mean, how can you call a steal from home?
Me too. We were doing live streams. I wasn't getting in a Twitter war with people, but I was like, that makes sense.
That's
such a feel.
You
play.
have to feel it.
You cannot force a guy to steal.
And he's really close. And hey, kudos to Muncy who helped get Kershaw's attention. Kudos to Kershaw for stepping up and making that throw in a World Series game. And kudos to Barnes, who Margot's coming in full speed. We saw what was it, Will Smith the other day, not squeeze the ball on the throw home for Muncy? Like, a catcher's glove is kind of a different thing. So he makes the squeeze, he makes the tag. I think it was, you can't give Manny Margot credit because he got thrown out stealing home in the World Series. You do have to give the credit to the Dodgers, but I'm kind of not giving Manny hate. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I said what I said. I mean, he had to run it by the third base coach. Typically, that's something that he would do. He's in your ear in between pitches. And as soon as Renfroe gets on first base and Kershaw has a vantage point, has to go in the stretch, has to look over that way, he's going to give that big set that he does, the Kershaw set. And I feel confident that he talked to the third base coach and was like, dude, I think I can steal home right here, or at least can get him to balk. That is that's how I would have approached it. Is Turner was, I don't know where he was playing. He was obviously off enough that Margot was able to get a big lead. So what you can do in that instance is break for home and try to get Kershaw just to step off and maybe balk, then stop. And maybe that would have been the better play, and then let KK hit. And if he gets down to 2 strikes, you send Renfroe. He gets in a run down at second base. Maybe you try to steal a run that way. But Margot made his decision. I think whether or not making the decision was the right move, the execution of it was right. Like he read it right. Kershaw just made a hell of a play. So I think we can argue all day about whether it was
it changed the game.
Good time to do it.
On that.
He's out, so we know the outcome of it. But that inning, and I'll encompass all those things into one. That inning was the ball game. Like, they needed to tie the game up there to start the game over, get the momentum, but they didn't.
Yeah, the inning before, Trev, the third inning, we talked on the stream, and you were like, uh-oh, now Clayton's going to get roughed up too. And I said he could have one bad inning as long as he doesn't have another bad inning, and he can get himself to 6-2. He didn't get all the way to 6. I think he could have. But this was their second chance. Like, if Margot stays there and Kiermaier bloops one or blasts one or does something, now Kershaw's had 2 innings where he gives up runs, and you wonder how much that changes his hook, how much that changes the rest of it. So just giving him outs on the base path in general, I think, was a dumb. Like, make him get the batter out.
Yeah, and
if it would have happened with less than 2 outs, I would be 100% on your side. But when you get to 2 outs and you're on third base, you start to do some silly shit. Like I said, like, if Kiermaier gets to 2 strikes, they're going to send Hunter Renfroe, and he's going to try to get in a run down. You're going to try to steal a run any way you can. So I think, I don't know. Everyone's going to have a different opinion on it. Obviously, it didn't work. So, like,
Trevor,
that's the main thing.
I'll relate it to what we talked about the other day. You referenced the Alex Gordon play in that San Francisco World Series a couple years ago, where Alex Gordon ends up on third, and it becomes that never-ending mystery. Does he get pegged at the play, or is it like the Randy Arozarena play where baseball happens and things get crazy? They tried to make that happen, and I think if it was the Dodgers trying to make that happen, I'd be sitting here saying, like, Dodgers, you guys are a better team. You don't have to be digging for stealing home. But the Rays, they are outgunned, so they got to pull out some tricks. So that's where I give them a little credit.